Hello everyone, Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I am sitting down having a very well-earned rest. It is now 4 o'clock. My son, my youngest son Ian, he's only one of my 3 sons that still lives up this area, where he can come to my house anytime he likes. Been helping me with my garden. He was here yesterday morning as well, until I went to Cheryl's till about 2 o'clock. But he came early this morning and he's been helping tidy up my garden because there was an awful lot of weeds, and not just inside the garden, my garden outside, the back garden, outside the gate, we have what's called the Reaver's cycle path, runs just along past my garden. But you know, that track just outside our gardens, behind the fences, there are weeds, brambles and all sorts. That is a cycle path, and those brambles end up going over the path. The council or whoever it is should come and clear them. And I used to clear, my son cleared all that for me one time because the brambles were coming in through the gaps in the fence. They were coming through the fence, and they were awful, you know, all over the place. And a few years ago, he cleared the whole lot out of there for me, and we laid grass. We had like little light lawn on either side of the gate on the fence, outside the fence. And whenever I cut the lawns inside, I used to go out and cut those ones outside. But one day, well, being a cycle path, it's a lot of stones. That's what they put down, like all little stones and stuff, and like gravel stuff for but there was quite a lot of larger stones, and I used to walk up and down that little bit grass first, and I used to kick any stones off that I saw on before I got put the lawnmower over it. Well, one day I was cutting it, and I must have missed a stone, and it must have been quite a large one, and my lawnmower caught that stone and it shot it back into my leg. It was actually like being what I could imagine being shot in the leg. It went right through my leg, right to the bone. And there was actually a hole in my leg. It took 3 months for that thing to heal up on my leg. And after that, I never cut that grass outside again. And over about the last couple of years, it's just got worse and worse, and the brambles are all over. I get plenty of blackberries if I left it. But I don't want blackberries. I can pick them anywhere, all along the sides of the cycle path, all the way along. There are brambles all over. But my son decided today, because I did have to cut. I was going out to the post office the other day, and I couldn't get through. After I went out my gate, I couldn't get back through without the brambles coming over, and they were catching on my cardigan and snagging on that and that. So I spent that afternoon cutting down just around the sides of my gate that I could, so I had a space to walk out where the brambles weren't attacking me. So I told him that, so he decided he's going to clear it, and that's what he's been doing. He's practically cleared one side. He's cut all the brambles down. That he's had the other side to do. But he's back to work during the week, but he's coming back on Saturday and Sunday again, the weekend, to do some more work. But he put some weed killer on what he had after he had cut down what he had to get rid of them. That kind of weed killer that doesn't kill the grass. So he says the grass is still there. He says it's just all the weeds has just overtaken the thing. So that's what we have been doing most of the day. While he was doing that, I was digging like the borders, what I could manage in the back, because I do have a very large lawn, and then I have a small lawn just below my patio. I have a patio just coming out the door, the back door. I have a little bit grass, little bit lawn, and then I have a larger patio that goes further down the garden. And the borders really wanted digging over. They were one or two like flowers that were there from last week that had come back last year, that had come back up again. Alyssum, I think, those little white flowers, so they had come back again. So I was starting to dig around that, doing as best I could. It got to lunchtime. Now my son, I have two sons, both have celiac disease. My youngest, Ian, who was the one doing the garden, it's only started affecting him from his later in his years. My middle son, Tony, he's had it most of his life. But Ian, I think he said he was about 45 when he started. He's in he'll be 51 this year. He's just started noticing since he was 45 that he was having a lot of problems with the food and that he was eating, and it turns out that he is gluten intolerant too. So I went out to him and I said, it was lunchtime. I said, what we're going to have for, you're going to have for lunch? Did you bring anything with you? I says, I've got nothing gluten intolerant. And she says, Mum, there's bacon in your fridge. I've seen the bacon. I says, yes, I've got bacon. He says, have you got tomatoes? I says, yes. Have you got eggs? He says, yes. Have you got mushrooms? I says, yes. He says, well, there you are. That's gluten-free. So that's what we had for our lunch. And I had a gluten-free lunch as well. So he left about 3:30. He was Seattle about 3:30, and I was just about as much as I could manage. I couldn't manage anymore. But while he was still doing that, I made myself a rhubarb crumble. And you know, I used to make that years ago for my kids. And my son Ian, the one doing the garden, we used to have to scrape crumble off the top for him because he wouldn't have the rhubarb. He didn't like the rhubarb. So he came in, he said, what are you making? I said, well, I'm doing rhubarb crumble. And what was in the tub that I'd been keeping the rhubarb in, there was still some left in there, and he was tasting it. Oh, he says, that's nice, that. I says, it should be. I says, when I made it, there's about half a pound of sugar in the thing. I says, but I also put a little bit of bicarbonate of soda in. I says, that takes the tartness out, you know. And he says, oh, he says, that's lovely, that. He says, it's a pity the crumbles. He says, I bet you made that ordinary flour. I said, well, I haven't got any other kind of flour. He says, I would have had some. I said, oh, well, I'm sorry, but it's already on. I says, I've made it with the ordinary self-freezing flour. I said, I'll get some for next week. There's loads of rhubarb. I said, I'll make you some next week. I'll get some gluten-free flour. And you know, when I was saying to him, but I says, you never liked rhubarb when you were a kid. I says, you wouldn't eat it. I had to scrape the crumble off the top and just give you crumble and custard. He says, I was a kid then. He says, change, your taste changes as we get older. I says, well, it just stayed with me all them years, because I never thought you liked, because I thought you didn't like it. So anyway, my son's away back home and I can get on with some, because I've never done any knitting at all today. This was all this little bit here, I think was all I did last night. I don't think I hardly done any yesterday because my son was here till 2, and then I went down my granddaughter's and was there till about 6. But I did take a little bit knitting, but I didn't do much. I took this one with me. I finished this last night. So that is the back of the 24-inch of this, the panelled one with the cables on. It's going to have cables on the front. So I now have, that's the back for the 24. The back for the 22. And the back for the 20-inch. So I'll be doing one other piece each of them after I've done this one, as well as a bit more of that one. But I started this one because I was just going to do those 3 and then do the pieces for it and finish each cardigan one piece at a time. But then I was looking through my book, and this is the, what you call the waffle stitch pattern. And was only one size to do on this one. I only have to do the 22. So I thought, oh, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to finish this one completely before I go on to the other ones again, because I'll be able to make the pattern for this one. But you know, I've been knitting this one quite a few times. I must have looked at my own notes, because I've done the rib as 1x1 rib. But when I looked at my notes, I've got the notes written down for 2x2 rib. So I thought, I'm going to do it the way I've got it written down. So that's what I'm doing a 2x2 rib for this one. So that's what I'm going to be doing today and most of the day. I did get a little bit of my own done the other night. If I can find it in the bag. There. I think I crossed the cable from there, across the cables there, and worked up across the cables again and did a few more rows. So probably done about 15 or 16 rows on that. That's the sleeve. Not be long before I'm up to the armhole, and I'll get the other sleeve done, and I may be able to finish my own cardigan for the summer. That one like that. So that's just a little bit, let you know what I've been doing and what I will be doing. And you know, yesterday when I was at my granddaughter's, I go there for I always get my Sunday lunch at my granddaughter's, and Craig, that's her partner, he's saying to me, well, what you been doing this morning? So I told him, I says, Cheryl's Uncle Ian's, I says, been helping us in the garden and doing things in the garden. But I says, mind you, we didn't get a lot done. I says, there was a lot more talking than anything done in the garden. You know, and he turned around and he says, well, we know where he gets it from, don't we? I was saying, hey, don't you be so cheeky. Says, the only reason we were talking so much, I says, was because it kept raining. He kept coming to come in because we had power tools out. And then the rest of the afternoon, me and Cheryl never stopped. You were rabbiting on about this, that and the other. And he's sitting there and looking, and he says, oh, we know where she gets it from as well, don't we? Hey, I don't know, like these people. But I think the gift of the gab runs in my family. It's when me and my sister get together, we never shut up. When I get with my granddaughter, we never shut up. When I get with my sons, we never shut up. All of my sons were all the same. So anyway, that's my little bit for now. So thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you all another time. So bye for now. I've got to sit here and talk to myself now, you know.